What is up, everybody, and welcome back to Johnny K Picks. And in this video, I'll be going over my full card picks and predictions, along with my bets so far that I have for UFC 282 Blachowicz versus Ankalaev. Now, as always, please hit that like button for me. If you're new to the channel or haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. And don't forget to turn on those notifications so you don't miss out on any of my new videos or live streams. So, last night was a fun one. UFC Orlando, a lot of great fights. Let's go to here real quick. I'm just going to quickly go over the fights real quick like I usually do. I ended up going 10-4 on my picks overall, which was pretty solid. And on my bets, I did pretty decent. I went 4-3 on my bets, and I ended up winning plus 0.80 units profit. So a little bit under 1 unit. Not bad. If Kevin Holland would have ended up coming through in the end, I would have won a little bit more than that. That was my biggest bet of the night. I got him at minus 110. Just didn't work out. He got injured and a lot of other stuff too. But hey, it was a good, entertaining fight. But like I said, let's go over these real quick. So Yasmin Hauregui and Estela Nunes, very good fight from Yasmin. Estela did rock her in the beginning, but Yasmin recovered pretty well. Ended up rocking her, and her striking's really good. She does not quit, and I think she's a very good prospect coming up here. Marshall versus Rojo. Marshall looked good as well. Rojo was doing decent in the beginning, and then after that, I think Marshall just realized he could take the shots. He can stand with him. He has the power to do it, and he's cracked him again. Another knockout. That's the theme of the night here. Levy versus Valdez. Interesting fight. Early on, I figured there was going to be a knockout in the first or second round, but it didn't look like it. I think they both kind of gassed out a little bit, and they didn't have that knockout power that followed him throughout the fight. Valdez kept getting rocked and dropped, and his foot looked 3 times as big as it usually would have. And a good win for Levy, but I mean, it was a pretty decent fight overall. Pierce versus Elkins, very good fight as well. Elkins is just a dog. He does not know when to quit. He's tough as hell, and I love watching him fight. I'm hoping they give him maybe like an up-and-coming guy, but Pierce is really good. He has a good striking, good ground game as well. So it was a tough fight for Elkins, but he stuck in there and put on a show for the fans, and that's what he does. Johnson versus Jacasey. This is the first one of the weird fights. I think everybody had Jacasey here, and Michael Johnson came out looking very good. Very good striking, good takedown defense. Jacasey looked like he wanted to show off a little bit in the first round, and maybe he won that first, but it was very close. But the second and third round, I don't know if he was injured or what, but he just didn't look himself. He was shooting for takedowns like I thought he would, but he wasn't even close on a lot of them. And his striking, I mean, Johnson outstruck him for pretty much 2 to 3 rounds. So good win for Johnson. I don't know what's wrong with Jacasey there. I didn't expect that, but he was a parlay buster, I'm sure, for a lot of people. Guida versus Holtzman. Guida got it done. Madman. I don't know why it was a split decision. There's no way it was a split. I don't know who the judge gave him Holtzman that fight, but I think Guida clearly won 29-28. Good fight from him. Holtzman seemed like he was slowing down a bit as the fight went on. And Guida just kept the pace, kept the pressure, kept the wrestling, and just did more in the end. And good win for him. Angela Hill versus Dakota, another underdog. This will be an underdog number 3 wins. Hill looked very, very, very good. Dakota looked solid in the first 2 minutes of the fight. And then like she just kind of quit and just there wasn't the same fighter. And Hill just took advantage and kept the pressure, kept the pace, good knees and good striking. And yeah, maybe I should stop fading Hill, because every time I fade Hill and I bet against her, she ends up winning. So maybe she's turned the corner and has a new second life in the UFC, if you want to say. 4th underdog in a row, Philip Rowe versus Nico Price. Very fun fight, back and forth. Rowe looked good early. Nico Price responded. Then he started looking better. And then third round hit. I mean, the live odds were crazy in the third round. I think Nico Price was plus 1,000. And I thought that fight was at least 1-1 going in the third. And I thought Nico had more gas tank left. But he showed it early, and then once Rowe hit him a couple times pretty good, and then he just fell off and he couldn't recover from it, and Rowe got the win. So good win from Rowe. He's a problem, but that cardio, it showed me a little bit more about his cardio, because most of his fights he doesn't go past round 2. So we'll see who he gets next here. Underdog number 5, I believe. Anders versus Daukaus. I think Daukaus came back a little too early. He was getting rocked too easy. I'm not saying Anders is not powerful with his striking, but it just looked a little too easy, if you know what I mean. But good win for Anders. Yeah, I did not expect that, I guess, if you want to say, but I was a little worried from Daukaus coming back a little too early from that brutal knockout, and I think he should have waited a little bit longer. But good win for Anders. Underdog number 6 in a row, which is crazy again. Roman Dolidze and Jack Hermanson. Jack Hermanson was looking very good with his striking early, moving around, keeping range, being elusive, so Roman couldn't get him. And then finally, Roman got the takedown, or they got to the mat, and he got that calf slicer, ground and pound from the back, and that's something I don't think I've ever seen in the UFC exactly like that. So Dolidze is a problem. He's just a monster, very powerful, very strong, very big for the division, and good win for him. And I picked him as an underdog. I didn't bet him. I wish I would have, but I picked him. I think he's really good. I think a lot of people are sleeping on him. So this is his coming out party. Good win from him on short notice. Remind everybody, short notice. Crazy fight here. Pavlovich versus Tai Tuivasa. Pavlovich is a problem. And again, I don't know if Tai came back a little too quick, because it was only like 2 or 3 months when he got brutally beat by Gane. I know most of it was to the body, but Sergey cracked him a couple times really good in the head, and he just couldn't recover. And good win from Sergey. I think he's going to be a problem. Maybe if he fights Blades, that's the only person I can see that might give him some trouble with his wrestling. But if it's going to be a striking match, he's always going to have that one punch power here. So good win from him. Nicolau versus Schnell. Again, one of those fighters that I don't know if they came back a little too early from their war, but good win from Nicolau. He did what everyone knew he was going to do. He's going to scoot around the cage in the back of the cage and pick his spots, and he picked his spots and he got the knockout. And I think he's good. I know he's boring. He's not very entertaining, but it's flyweight. You have to remember there's not a lot of knockout guys in the flyweight division. So usually more so the finishes in the flyweights are through sub. But Nicolau's very good striking, good technical striking. He's very patient to a fault almost. So I just think he's very underrated. I think he's still good though. RDA versus Barberena. We all knew this was going to happen. Maybe not by rear naked choke in the second round, but good win from RDA. He had the grappling advantage all day, and he used it. Good fight IQ there. He tried standing up with him a bit. He knew that it was more dicey and just get this fight to the mat, and he did that. And a good win from RDA. And the main event, Wonder Boy versus Holland. Good win from Thompson. Holland was doing his normal Holland self, playing around and talking, and they were going back and forth through the fight. Apparently, they had like a mutual agreement, maybe that they weren't going to take down one another, which that makes a lot of sense, because Holland was on top of him a couple times and had clear top control advantage and just stood up, and I was kind of questioning why he was doing that, but that makes way more sense now. But good win from Thompson. I know Holland got injured through that fight, so he couldn't really do too much at the end, but Thompson's very tough. He got rocked in the first round and survived, and he was beat up. If you looked at his face, he was beat up all fight and just kept coming at Holland, and Holland couldn't take it, and he got injured. So good win from Thompson. Good card overall. As I said, like I got 10-4 on my picks on the side right here. These were all of my picks. Didn't really do too well on the outcomes, but the picks were there. And then I will show you my bets here. This is my bets. All my bets were good. Not all of them. Sorry. Holland was my loss right there. I got him at -110. So I mean, it is what it is. This bet was just busted early on. and then Daike's ruined that parlay, but everything else was good to go. Plus 0.80 units profit. That makes 4 winning cards in a row. And yeah, I'm going to try to get 2 more here. We got 2 cards to go to the end of the year and end on a high note. And let's jump into what you guys have been waiting for is UFC 282. A lot of good fights here. I will quickly mention that the Yuri Glover fight got scrapped because Yuri's injured, which sucks because I really wanted to see that rematch. Bo Nickel even got injured, which kind of sucks. I know he would have dominated Jamie Pickett, but it would be fun to watch him fight again. And Ronnie Lawrence and Cameron Saaiman. That would have been a good fight. I liked Lawrence in that fight, but now he's Cameron's fighting someone else, which he's fighting right here. So we'll go to this one right here. Cameron Saaiman versus Steven Koslow. Saaiman is 6-0, 21 years old, 5'8", with a 67-inch reach. And then Koslow is 6-0, 25 years old, 5'7", and I'm not sure his reach. But both these guys are making their UFC debut. Saaiman's pretty well-rounded fighter. He's got very good striking, good power in his hands. He's got decent grappling as well, but he's more so a striker. And he looked good on his Dana White Contender Series win, where he ended up getting a finish at the end there. I believe it was the second or third round. It was towards the end against a pretty good, solid striker. So that was pretty an impressive win. Koslow, he's a good grappler with good submissions. All of his wins are by first round subs, so that's something to definitely be on the lookout for. But those guys that he is submitting aren't the greatest. I think his best opponent that he beat was like 4-4, which it was his last fight 4 months ago against James Dunn. And most of these other guys 1-1, 6-8, 2-7. And 0-0 making their debut, so take that with a grain of salt as well. But I do like Saaiman here. I do think he's going to have the better striking on the feet, and if this fight does get to the mat, I think he has enough grappling to survive any submissions that Koslow will give him or try to get him in. And yeah, I'm not gonna bet this fight money line. It's just a little like both these guys are making their UFC debuts, and it's gonna be at a pay-per-view with a crowd, and you don't know what's gonna happen. But I do like the under here. I'm wondering what it's gonna be set at if it's gonna be 1.5 or 2.5. But that's something to look at, and I'm gonna look at too. But with my pick though, give me Saaiman to win this one either in the first or second round. I think it's gonna be by a knockout. It'll be a fun scrap for the beginning of it, but I just think Cameron's just going to be a little bit too good for him. All right, next fight we have is going to be OSP, Ovince St. Preux versus Antonio Trocoli. OSP is 26-16, 39 years old, 6'3", with an 80-inch reach, and Trocoli is 12-3, 32 years old, 6'5", with an 82-inch reach. So OSP is a solid striker. We all know him. He has good kicks. He's kind of low volume nowadays. He has very opportunistic submissions, if you want to say. He's getting up there in age. He's 39 years old. Doesn't have the greatest wins. I actually think in this Shogun fight that he might have lost that fight. Probably did. I think he did. So some of these losses, Tanner Boser by knockout, and Boser's not really the knockout guy. Jamal Hill, I mean, that's an easy knockout there. But yeah, like I said, he's getting up there in age, and I don't know how much left in the gas tank he has. So Trocoli, though, he's got okay striking and power. He's long for the division. He's got good grappling and takedowns. He works for submissions when he gets the fight to the mat. And not a lot of tape on this guy, but some of his guys he's beating too. 7-1, it's pretty decent. 6-0, but that ended up being a draw. 2-6, 20-13. So he's fighting okay guys. But this is a tricky fight here because Antonio's making his UFC debut, and OSP is a experienced guy. I mean, he might not be as dangerous as he was early, but I'm gonna go with Trocoli here. I just think OSP is slowly on the decline here, and I think Trocoli will be able to get him out of there, whether it's by submission or knockout. As the fight goes on, OSP does fade a bit as well. So give me Trocoli here, and I'm going to say he wins this one by a second round finish. I'll say knockout, maybe ground and pound, something like that. Staying away from that fight for betting, though. We got the next one here, Perrin versus Raul Rosas Jr. Perrin is 10-6, 29 years old, 5'7", with a 69-inch reach, and Rosas Jr. is 6-0, 18 years old, 5'9", with a 67-inch reach. So Rosas is making his UFC debut. He's an amazing grappler with amazing submissions. He can be reversed at times, which because he does go for a submission over position. But if he does get reversed, he ends up reversing back on top or whatever. So I think he knows that he can get back where he was if he does get reversed. His striking is okay; it's a work in progress, but he hasn't really fought the best competition either. But the skills and the talent you can see on the eye test that it's there, and he has very good cardio. Perrin has solid striking. He's a good, well-rounded fighter. He's got solid grappling, good takedowns. Doesn't really do anything super great. That's the thing about him. And he has fought the better competition. But outside of like the bigger promotions, I know he's fought in Bellator a couple times. He's fought in the UFC, on the Contender Series even. Let's see here. I mean, he hasn't won any of these bigger promotional fights. Like, look, Bellator, and he's has 2 losses, UFC 2 losses, Dana Contender Series a loss. So all of his wins are coming from the regional scene. So this is a tricky fight to even pick here too, because I like Rosas a lot. I think he should win this fight, but it's hard to pick an 18-year-old, making his UFC debut on a pay-per-view with a crowd. But I'm going to pick him. I was thinking about maybe doing him in a parlay, but I just think that's a little too risky. So I'm going to stay away from the money line here. Look at the props maybe. But yeah, give me Rosas to win here. And I'm going to say he wins this one by decision. I think Perrin will be good enough to stop the submission threat that Rosas will give him. And we'll move on up to the next one. Daniel da Silva versus Vinicius Salvador. Da Silva is 11-4, 26 years old, 5'6", with a 70-inch reach. And Salvador is 14-4. Don't know his age for some reason, doesn't say. 5'7", with a 70.5-inch reach. So this fight is going to be fun for however long it lasts, because Daniel da Silva is a kill or be killed fighter. He is super dangerous early. And when I say early, within the first 2 or 3 minutes of the first round. And then he fades fast. He's very hittable. He's got good power, good striking. He's got good submissions if this fight does get to the mat. But we've seen him get submitted. We've seen him get knocked out in the UFC. Yeah, and Salvador is making his UFC debut again. A lot of UFC debuts here. He's also a very good finisher. He's got good striking, good power. And I think Salvador is going to knock him out here. I don't see a lot of greatness from da Silva. Like I said, he's dangerous early. So he's always going to be live for that very early knockout in the first, or maybe submission if he gets like a club and sub. But I got to go Salvador here. I think he's the more durable guy. He does get hit a decent amount. He's hittable, but I think he has the better chin and better cardio. And I do think he'll be able to get that finish in the first round by knockout. So that will be my pick. Salvador by knockout, first round. It's going to be a fun one. Fun, quick one, if you want to say. Definitely look at the props for that one as well. Over, under. All right. This is going to be a very interesting, fun fight. Chris Curtis versus Joaquin Buckley. Curtis is 29-9, 35 years old, 5'10", with a 75.5-inch reach. And Buckley is 15-5, 28 years old, 5'10", with a 76-inch reach. So both guys are mainly strikers. They both have good power. I would say Buckley is more explosive and more athletic, but Curtis is very tough, very durable. He has very good takedown defense. If Buckley does try to go for takedowns, which he could, he has pretty decent wrestling. But I've noticed that the more that he does try to go for takedowns, the more of his cardio that fades. So I don't know if he'll want to be doing that in this fight. And one thing I do like about Curtis that he invests in his body shots early and often, and that pays dividends. And that could be the key in this fight to watch for, because Buckley does tend to fade as the fight goes on a little bit. He showed better cardio in his last fight against Imavov, but I think Imavov just outgassed himself, and then that gave Buckley a little bit more energy in the third. But this is a very, very, very close fight. And I'm gonna go with Curtis here. He's gonna have a full camp, which is always a plus. He likes to take fights on short notice. I think in his fight against Jack Hermanson, it was on short notice, and he was very frustrated in that fight because he couldn't catch up to Jack. But I think Buckley would be more willing to engage with Curtis here, and I think it's gonna be more of a fight that Curtis will like. And I just think he's gonna be able to get it done here. I think Curtis is just super durable. He hasn't been knocked. I think he's been knocked out once in his career, and it's been a long time. And Buckley, I mean, he's very good too, and it's hard to pick. This is a very close fight. I kept going back and forth, but I'm gonna go Curtis. I think he's, with his experience, his toughness, durability, body shots working. I think he'll be able to squeak this one out in the end by decision. So with my pick, going with Curtis to win by decision, underdog. I think he's a slight underdog right now. So this will be a very interesting fight, though. All right, so we got Jairzinho Rozenstuik versus Chris Daukaus this time. And Rozenstuik is 12-4, 34 years old, 6'2", with a 78-inch reach. And Daukaus is 12-5, 33 years old, 6'3", with a 76-inch reach. So both of these guys are power strikers. Rozenstruik is definitely going to have the power advantage, and Daukaus is definitely going to have the speed advantage. But both these guys have lost their last two fights. Rozenstruik lost by knockout, and then Curtis Blaydes by decision. And then Daukaus lost by Blaydes, brutal knockout, and Derek Lewis, brutal knockout. And how long ago was that? 7 months ago. Is this going to be one of those? Is this too early for the Daukauses to come back? And I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say Rozenstruik is going to get this knockout. Daukaus is going to need to drag this fight into the later rounds and maybe not be as aggressive that he usually likes to be. And maybe slow down Rozenstruik as the fight goes on, because if he tries to go in there and tries to win this one in the first round, like Daukaus tends to try to do, he's going to get knocked out. I think he's really going to get knocked out again. And Rozenstruik has good power for the division. So, yeah, with my pick, I'm going to go with Rozenstruik. I think he's going to get that knockout in the first or second round, maybe early second round if he doesn't get him out of there in the first. But I just think Daukaus might be coming back yet again a little too early. I mean, he's technically, I know he's in the heavyweight division, but he weighs 240. And he can lose a little bit of that weight and maybe get down the lightweight, but I just think he feels more comfortable at heavyweight for whatever reason. So these are big guys up in heavyweight, and yeah, just another knockout for Daukaus here, unfortunately. Next fight, another UFC debutant, Eric Silva versus TJ Brown. Silva is 9-1, 35 years old, 5'9", with a 71-inch reach. And TJ Brown is 16-9, 32 years old, 5'9", with a 73.5-inch reach. All right. So, as I said, Silva is making his UFC debut at the age of 35, but he's got amazing grappling, amazing submissions, good ground and pound, solid striking, but he's very quick to get those takedowns. He wants to get this fight to the mat. He's got a lot of first round finishes. I believe, let me go, I don't want to say that I'm a liar here. Oh, yeah, let's see, first round, rear naked choke, first round. He did lose once, but most of his wins are in the first round against pretty okay guys. 3-0, 18-6 is a good win. 12-5, 6-6, 8-3. So not horrible opponents, but like I said, UFC debut. And TJ Brown, I mean, he's got okay striking, okay wrestling. I would say he has very low fight IQ. In his last fight against Nerdembeki, he kept going for those submissions when he had good control on top, and then he was getting reversed in all fight, and that just shows very low fight IQ. And I can't back anybody that has low fight IQ. So give me Silva here. Even with the low fight IQ, I like Silva here. I think he'll be able to get those takedowns. Brown doesn't have the greatest takedown defense. Striking, I mean, maybe it's close, but I think this fight's going to get to the mat, and I think Silva's going to be able to get him out of there either in the first or second round by submission. So with my pick, give me Silva by submission. I'm going to say first round and keep the streak alive. Next fight is going to be a good one. Billy Q versus Alexander Hernandez. And Billy Q is 16-4, 34 years old, 5'10 with a 70-inch reach. And Hernandez is 13-5, 30 years old, 5'9 with a 72-inch reach. So Billy is a very high volume striker. He's got good grappling and good submissions. He got decent wrestling and takedowns. Sometimes he does have to work for those takedowns, but if he gets close to you, like he can take the back just from standing up. Like he's very savvy, if you want to say with that. But like I said, very good cardio, always throws volume. Doesn't have the greatest knockout power, but he does do some spinning elbows and stuff. Hernandez is a very good technical boxer. He's got good power as well. He does have good takedowns and wrestling that he could use, but I don't know if he's going to want to use that in this fight. He might want to keep this fight standing. And I think this is going to be a battle of who is going to land the more strikes and the more damaging strikes, if you want to say the cleaner strikes. Billy Q is going to have that grappling advantage. So close fight again, but I'm going to go Billy Q here. I think he's going to be able to outstrike Hernandez. Maybe Hernandez will land the better strikes and the cleaner ones as the fight goes on, but I think in the second and third round, Billy Q is going to be able to basically take over the fight, and Hernandez slows down a little bit. And I don't see a finish unless maybe Billy Q gets Hernandez on the mat and takes his back and gets a rear naked choke or something like that, maybe later in the fight. But I'm going to say this goes to the judges' scorecards, and Billy Q wins a pretty close 29-28 decision. So, yeah, with my pick going Billy Q by decision, close fight. I can see it go either way here, though. And we have the return of Edmund Shahbazyan versus Dalcha Lungiambula. Hopefully I said that decently. Shahbazyan is 11-3, 25 years old, 6'2 with a 74-inch reach. And Dalcha is 11-5, 35 years old, 5'8 with a 76-inch reach. So Shahbazyan is a very good striker. He's got solid power. He was undefeated until he started fighting wrestlers and grapplers. Derek Brunson, Jack Hermanson, and Imavov. So, I mean, he was going through guys left and right until he met the grapplers of the division, if you want to say. And he just got exposed. And hopefully with the time off, he worked on that wrestling and grappling. And Dalcha is very strong. He's got tons of power early, solid wrestling and takedowns. But he's one of those killer be killed fighters too. He's very questionable fight IQ as well. And cardio is an issue as the fight goes on for him. So I'm going to go Shahbazyan here. I think he can weather the storm in the first round and eventually get that finish in the second or third round. Maybe Dalcha tries to go for wrestling, but I just think that's going to gas him out. And if Dalcha doesn't get that finish when he does that, then he's going to be in big trouble here. So with my pick, I'm going to go with Shahbazyan to win this one in late in the second round or third round knockout. I just think he's going to gas out Dalcha here. All right, so we got the main card. This is probably my fight of the night, hardest to predict. Bryce Mitchell versus Ilia Topuria. Mitchell is 15-0, 28 years old, 5'10 with a 70-inch reach. And Topuria is 12-0, 25 years old, 5'7 with a 69-inch reach. So someone's undefeated zero is gonna be gone after this fight. And I like both these guys. As a fan, they are very entertaining and very fun to watch. I'm killing time right now. So Mitchell, I mean, he's an amazing grappler, amazing wrestler in takedowns. He got amazing cardio, solid striking as well. It's kind of underrated. I wouldn't say it's amazing, but it's underrated striking. I think a lot of people are too worried about his grappling and wrestling, and his striking does look a little better than he gets credit for. And Topuria is super well rounded. Great striking with good power, good wrestling, good grappling and submissions as well. And this is why it's very, 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 very tough to pick here because I can see it go either way. I think the value is on the underdog, whoever it's going to be when the fight happens. But this is picks. This is picks. Remember, guys, this isn't because of the lines. It's because of the picks. And I'm going to go ever so slightly with Topuria here, and here is why. I think he has the finishing ability on the feet that he can get that knockout. I don't know if Bryce has that finishing ability. Topuria has shown very good durability, good toughness on the feet. He's been rocked a couple times and he recovered very well. I don't know if Mitchell will be able to do that for him. And he could even get those takedowns on Mitchell. Mitchell doesn't have the greatest takedown defense. He's usually the one shooting for takedowns. Mitchell is. But if Topuria shoots for takedowns, I mean, he has good top control. He's got very good wrestling. He's going to be thicker, I believe, on the scales and in the weigh-in. So definitely look at that too. And I'm not saying Mitchell doesn't have a chance here. This is going to be a very, very close fight. Mitchell's path to victory is to get him down and stay on top. I don't know if he's going to be able to stay on the feet with him for all 3 rounds. And Topuria can go anywhere in this fight. That's why I like him too. He's very well rounded. He's good on the feet. He's good on the mat. I think he's going to be safe on the mat. So one way or another, I do think this will go to decision. The only finish that I can potentially see is maybe Topuria catching Bryce early on the feet in the first round with a knockout. But other than that, I think this is going to go to decision. It's going to be a very fun fight. Ilia's not going to accept being on his back. So maybe he'll get some reversals, maybe he'll threaten with some submissions off his back and maybe try to get a reverse or get up. And Bryce is going to continue to go for those takedowns. It's going to be fun to watch. So give me Topuria. Very close fight, not confident whatsoever, but by decision, I think maybe look at the over in this fight. That's a good angle when the props come out. I think I'm going to look at that as well and just hope for a decision. This is going to be a very good fight. Next fight, also very good fight. I hit the wrong one. Sorry, guys. Darren Till versus Dricus du Plessis. Till is 18-4-1, 29 years old, and that's crazy to me. It always feels like he's 34 or something. 6 foot with a 75-inch reach, and du Plessis is 17-2, 28 years old, 6'1", with a 76-inch reach. So both these guys are strikers. Till has very good boxing, good counters, but he's very, very low volume, and that bugs the crap out of me with him. And he doesn't have the greatest takedown defense. And du Plessis is a beast. He's got huge power. He's not as technical as Till on the feet, but he's super durable. He showed that in his last fight against Brad Tavares. He took some really good shots against him. And he can slow down as the fight goes on, but he showed that he can overcome that later in the fight. It's like he got a second wind on the feet. And also, he has a good grappling and wrestling game too. He hasn't showed it too much in the UFC, but let me show you guys if you don't think, because everyone just remembers du Plessis striking, but look at his early stuff here. guillotine, guillotine, rear naked choke, rear naked choke, rear naked choke, rear naked choke, rear naked choke. This guy can grapple. He's got good submissions. He's just really powerful. He's got a lot of submissions on his record. He's got more submissions than he does knockouts in his last, and I know in his last two of his 3 fights, he got knockouts. So he's very good on the mat, and he can go for takedowns himself. Maybe later in the fight, if he's losing the stand-up war, maybe he goes for takedowns and uses grappling. So I like Du Plessis here. I just think he's the more dangerous guy. He's more well-rounded. He throws more volume. He's got more power. And Till's only chance is to stay at range and just kind of maybe pick a spot to counter him and maybe stun him and go for the finish. I don't even think he's going to be able to win a decision here. So yeah, with my pick, give me Du Plessis here. And I'm going to say he does get that knockout or submission in the 2nd or 3rd round, maybe a club and sub, but I'm going to say knockout in the late 2nd round. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a club and sub. Next fight is Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Robbie Lawler. Let's go. Ponzinibbio is 28-6, 36 years old, 6 foot with a 73-inch reach. And Lawler is 29-16, 40 years old, 5'11", 74-inch reach. Interesting fight here. Interesting matchmaking, if you want to say. And I'm not sure why this fight was made. Both these guys are good strikers with good power. And this is going to be a good scrap and good fight for however long it lasts. Again, this is one of those fights that you want to maybe look at the under here. But as we saw in Lawler's last couple fights, he's kind of showing his age. Barberena got a knockout on Robbie Lawler. Like, Barberena doesn't really knock out people. So, and he fought Nick Diaz, and I know he won that fight, and Nick Diaz wasn't Nick Diaz. But Lawler did not look that good early in that fight, like at all. He was just a punching bag. And if he's going to be like that, he was even a punching bag against Barberena. And Ponzinibbio I think, would destroy Barberena in a fight. So what's that say about the fight? Santiago is a very good striker, very technical. He has very good kicks. And I'm not saying Lawler doesn't have a chance here. I mean, his only chance is to land that knockout shot early. Other than that, Ponzinibbio is going to be able to touch him up and eventually get that stoppage here. And also, I think Ponzinibbio is very motivated to get this win. He lost a very close decision against Michael Pereira, split decision, and he lost a very close decision against Jeff Neal. Both of those he could have won, and I think he won one of the two, maybe even two. But I'm going to say he definitely won one of those two. He's very motivated here to win this fight. I think this is a layup fight for him. He should be able to get the knockout here. So with my pick, going with Ponzinibbio to win, I will say 2nd or 3rd round knockout. Lawler can survive for 1 round. Co-main event time. Paddy the Baddy versus Jared Gordon. Paddy is 19-3, 27 years old, 5'10", with a 73-inch reach, and Jared Gordon is 19-5, 34 years old, 5'9", with a 68-inch reach. So Paddy is a very well-rounded fighter. He's got very good grappling and submissions, decent takedowns. He's got good power in his hands. He can be wild at times, not very technical on the feet, and can be hittable. But his grappling right now at this date right now, that's his bread and butter. And Gordon is an okay striker. Doesn't have the greatest KO power or anything. He's got good wrestling and decent grappling. But there will be a day, guys, that we will fade Paddy the Baddy. But again, this isn't the fight to do it, I think. I think Paddy should be able to win this one fairly easily. At first, when I did see the matchmaking and saw this fight, I was like, well, maybe this is the fight. And then I did some tape. This isn't the fight. Gordon can be controlled on the mat very easily, especially in one of his fights. I believe it was against Joe Selecki. He ended up winning that fight, but Joe was controlling him for 1.5 rounds of that fight very easily. Dawson even did pretty good against him, and I know he won against Leonardo Santos, but I think, that's Leonardo Santos. So He's not Patty. But yeah, also another thing to bring up too, in all 5 of Gordon's losses in his career, he's been finished. And I think the trend's going to continue here. And I believe he's been submitted 4. I could be wrong. 3 of the 5 times. Let me look real quick just to let you guys know. Knockout, knockout, knockout. Okay, so he's only been submitted once in his career, I believe. Yeah, that was against Grant Dawson. So he's been submitted once out of his 5, but he's been finished in all 5. So I think the trend continues. I think Patty will be able to finish him. I think he's going to be able to finish him with a rear naked choke or something along those lines. Maybe a club and sub too, because like I said, he's got good power. If he lands one of those like crosses or hooks, and then he'll be able to put Jared down for sure. So going with Patty again here, I'm going to think he's going to get that sub in the late second or third round again too here. Maybe first too. Who knows? If he gets the back of Jared Gordon early, it can be first round. And main event time. The new main event, actually. Jan Blachowicz versus Magomed Ankalaev. Blachowicz is 29-9, 39 years old, almost 40, 62, 6'2" 78-inch reach. And Ankalaev is 8-1, 30 years old, 6'3", with a 75-inch reach. So this is going to be a fun fight. Blachowicz is a good striker. He's got very good power, solid, strong leg kicks. He does have some wrestling and takedowns that he could use, but I don't think he's going to use it in this fight. He's very durable. He doesn't have the greatest takedown defense, which could be very key in this fight. And he sort of slows down in the championship rounds, like rounds 4 and 5. He's very good for 3, but then he starts to slow down and very low volume, if you want to say. And Ankalaev is very well-rounded. He's more so a striker first, but he's got very good wrestling and takedowns, good top control. He's got very good power in his hands, good technical striking and boxing. And this is, like I said, going to be a very good fight. But I'm going to go with the more younger, more well-rounded fighter in Ankalaev here. No surprise. I think this fight will be close early and played out on the feet. But I think Ankalaev, after a while, is going to need to mix in some takedowns, which I do think he'll start shooting for and wear down Blachowicz. And as he does that, he should be able to either outstrike him to a fairly easy decision, or maybe get a late 4th or 5th round knockout, maybe. But Ankalaev does have 5 knockouts in the UFC, but 2 of them have been to Kutalaba. And one was in his last fight, I believe, against Anthony Smith. It says knockout, ground and pound, but Anthony Smith hurt his leg or ankle, and it technically was a knockout. So it really wasn't, but you got to give it to him. It was. So give me Ankalaev here. I think he wins this one by decision. I think Blachowicz will be able to survive all 5 rounds, not 3. And win either 49, 46, or 48, 47. Pretty clear decision win for him. But yeah, this is going to be a very good card. Kind of mad about the Yuri Glover fight being scrapped, but it is what it is. The couple bets that I have so far, one bet is 1.5 units on Ankalaev and Patty to win. And I got that at plus 112. So like I said, I think Patty's going to be able to out-grapple Gordon, and he should be able to get the finish. And I just think Ankalaev is more well-rounded. He should be able to win a decision here and outstrike Blachowicz and get the fight to the mat and use his wrestling and get some control time and win that way too. And then my other bet I have is another 1.5 unit bet. And this one's going to be on Du Plessis and Ponzinibbio. So these last 4 fights. So Du Plessis and Ponzinibbio to win. And I also got that around the same price at plus 115. I just think Du Plessis is going to be too strong for too high volume. He's going to be able to use this grappling and wrestling if he wants to. And he should be able to get that finish late in the fight. And again, with Ponzinibbio, I just think he's the better striker. He's going to be able to basically hit Lawler with anything and everything because Lawler just sits there, doesn't really move his head. He's more so a punching bag nowadays. And I just think Ponzinibbio should be able to win this one by a late finish or an easy decision if he can last. So those are my 2 bets so far. I'm going to have more as the week goes on, like usual. Thank you. That's all I got for now. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Be sure to check my Instagram, my Twitter in the comment section below for any of my added bets that I place throughout the week. I always post my bet slips on my Instagram and Twitter. So if you don't trust me, they are on there. Go check it out. I hope everybody enjoys this card just as much as you enjoyed the last one, because I think this is going to be a very good card for a pay-per-view. And until next time, happy fighting.